So it seems the Eagles may not be done making big moves ahead of the NFL trade deadline, as it's been reported that Howie Roseman is still scouring the league to find upgrades for this already stacked Eagles roster, with several big names being mentioned as targets. Plus, Nick Sirianni recently spoke about the dominance of A.J. Brown, and he seemed to go out of his way to shut down all the drama that has been surrounding the wideout this season. Meanwhile, Lane Johnson just a few days ago outlined the Eagles' offensive struggles this season, which over the past 4 games has included what was once the offense's biggest strength. So what's the key to fixing that problem? And finally, we got some big injury updates on some really important guys before the Eagles match up with the Commanders, as well as our first look at Kevin Byard. So we're going to talk about all that and more news in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So when you think about the Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni era of Philadelphia Eagles football, there's a few key things that should come to mind. The main one being winning, as of course, as Jalen Hurts emphasizes all the time, that's the main thing, and it's always going to be the main thing, but you don't just win without doing the right things, and I think really Nick Sirianni has built this culture where the players and coaches all have the correct mindset, everyone's bought into this one common goal, and everyone's willing to take the correct steps to get closer and closer to that each and every single day, whether that be the coaches or players holding each other accountable or practicing that dog mentality that has become one of the Eagles' calling cards during the Sirianni era. Again, everyone's just doing the proper things to help the team reach a common goal. So I think when you get to the actual game and you see a lot of these things come to fruition, that's really cool. And specifically what I'm talking about is during the Eagles' win versus the Dolphins, when they were faced with some adversity after Jalen Hurts' pick 6 that tied the game, you could see on the Eagles sideline that nobody panicked. Instead, everyone was just focused on the next play and responding to that adversity that they were hit with. And that's exactly what they did, and the Eagles' social media team did a fantastic job of capturing the whole thing.
Here we go, boys. Keep it up now.
Breaking away, running into the end zone, A.J. Brown! The Eagles take the lead.
Way to respond, baby. Way to respond.
So I just thought that that was really cool to see, because that's the mentality that winning teams have. Stuff's going to happen during the game regardless of how good you are, and it's really just about how you handle it, how do you respond to those moments, and can you find ways to win despite dealing with adversity. So we've seen the Eagles do that for a while now, and I think based on that clip, you can see why, because the whole team has the right mentality. But it's not just the players and coaches that have the correct mentality. The guys in the front office have it too, and that's of course headlined by the best GM in sports, as I like to call him, Howie Roseman, as even after going out very recently and swinging a blockbuster trade for Kevin Byard, it's being reported that Howie is not done trying to make big moves yet, as the Athletic's Diana Russini was recently on Ryan Russillo's podcast, where she said, quote, "I've talked to tons of NFL teams around the league, and it's like, yeah, Howie's calling, of course Howie's calling, and Howie's not done, by the way." So that then opens your eyes and you start to think, what other moves are still out there for Howie to make? Well, a lot of people have been quick to mention the name Patrick Surtain as the arguable best cornerback in the NFL, who's in just his 3rd year in the league, maybe on the trading block, with Denver being a clear seller at the trade deadline, and Albert Breer recently saying that the Broncos would in fact listen to offers for him. Now, adding Surtain to this Eagles secondary would be ridiculous, because the group already features stars like, of course, Darius Slay, James Bradberry, now Kevin Byard, and young up-and-comer Reed Blankenship. I mean, that group would be absolutely ridiculous, plus with Slay and Bradberry getting up there in age, getting a young superstar like Pat Surtain to not only come in now and heavily contribute, but also to plan for the future of the Eagles at corner would be a crazy good move. The problem is, what would you have to give up to get Surtain? Because the answer to that question is, you're going to have to give up an awful lot. I mean, you're talking about probably multiple first-round picks and additional draft capital, not to mention the fact that after you trade for him, the Eagles would then have to pay him a big contract extension to make the deal worth it. So, despite the fact that yes, Surtain is probably the best player out there that may be available, when you take a step back, I don't know if making a deal for him would really be worth it in the end, because first off, what you'd have to give up to get him, then the extension you'd have to pay him, plus the Birds aren't even in desperate need of a corner right now. So I really think it'd just be smarter for the Birds to hold on to their draft capital, and if they really think that they need a corner in the future because of the aging guys like Slay and Bradberry, again, just use those draft picks and try and acquire one that way. Or maybe they could go after a different option at corner like Colts vet Kenny Moore, who ML Football reported on Wednesday that the Eagles, quote, really like. Now there is no doubt that Moore would be a nice addition to the Eagles secondary, which again looks a lot more stacked with the addition of Byard. Moore was a Pro Bowler back in 2021, and after a somewhat down season due to injury in 2022, he's been very, very good for the Colts this season. Again, you would just have to wonder what the Eagles would have to give up to get him, or if he's even available for that matter, because there haven't been any reports saying that the Colts are shopping him around. Then again, I don't put anything past Howie, so what do you guys think? Could the Eagles swing a trade for Kenny Moore or Pat Surtain? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Now, in addition to those two, there are plenty of other moves the Eagles could look into at the trade deadline. For example, maybe Broncos offensive tackle Garrett Bowles or Panthers cornerback Dante Jackson, or maybe some surprise names like Cardinals wide receiver Marquise Brown, former Eagles tight end Zach Ertz, or even Titans running back Derrick Henry, as an article by Fansided suggested. Now, I honestly highly doubt the validity of a lot of those moves, but again, you can't put anything past Howie Roseman. And I'm fully confident that he's going to make a move in some form or another. It's just a matter of who. I mean, knowing him, it's going to be someone we're not even talking about right now, but whoever it is, let's just hope that they can come in and make a solid impact right away. Now, someone who I think we pretty much know is going to make a solid impact right away with the Eagles after being traded here is Kevin Byard, who we actually got our first look at during Eagles practice this week, and he looks like he's fitting right in, and Nick Sirianni certainly made it sound like he's looked good, and he's going to be fully ready to go for Sunday.
We feel really good of where he is. I won't give away any information of how much he's going to play or anything like that. I don't want to tell the Commanders anything, right? And so, but we feel like he's had a great week of practice. Everything's considered. Man, he's a pro, and he's worked really hard this week, so we're confident in him. We'll see how much he plays in this football game.
I mean, judging by Sirianni's comments, plus the fact that Byard is a vet who's been playing all season and coming off a bye, and he's fully healthy, I don't see any reason why Byard won't be out there starting and playing most of, if not all, the Eagles' defensive snaps on Sunday. Now, real quick, before we continue on with the rest of the video, I just want to say, if you are enjoying this video and want to see others like it coming in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Around 80% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed. If you're sitting here right now enjoying this video or finding any of the information helpful or just you're entertained by it, make sure you go down, change that right now, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any other videos like this coming in the future. I think that's a win-win for the both of us. And now with that being said, let's get back into the video. Now, someone else who was confirmed will be out there against the Commanders is Jalen Hurts, as just like we expected, Nick Sirianni confirmed that his game status for Sunday isn't in question.
He's tough as heck, right? And so, he's going to fight through any bumps and bruises that he has. But as far as his game status and his practice status, he's been full. So, and his game status is not in question.
So really, there's no surprise there after Hurts wasn't listed on the injury report this week, and it really does seem like this injury is just a super minor thing, and it's only getting so much attention because it's Jalen Hurts. So let's just hope it stays that way and it doesn't turn into a more serious thing down the road, because obviously, I don't even need to say that the Eagles offense needs Jalen Hurts to succeed. Just like they need AJ Brown, who's been balling this entire season, as he's second in the NFL in receiving so far, just behind Tyreek Hill. I think it's safe to say that those two have been in a class of their own among receivers this year, and AJ's also just won 125-yard receiving game on Sunday, away from breaking Calvin Johnson's record for the most 125-yard games in a row. And with Commanders cornerback Benjamin St-Juste limited in practice and his status for Sunday's game in question, AJ is set up for success here. Everyone else remembers the last time he played the Commanders and what happened, so he'll be looking for a repeat performance and just to keep up his domination. But despite how good AJ's been all season, I feel like there's kind of been an unnecessary amount of drama surrounding him, and that stems back to that ridiculously overblown sideline argument between him and Jalen Hurts in week 2 in a game where AJ didn't see the ball very much, which really meant nothing at the end of the day, but everyone acted like this was a huge deal. And then after that game, AJ started to get on this dominant stretch that he's been on, and then of course there was that group of people speculating that that's because he was complaining on the sideline the game before. And then fast forward to their first loss of the season to the Jets, in which AJ had another good game, and an Eagles legend in Donovan McNabb decides to bring up that argument again and suggest that that's been the reason for the Eagles offensive struggles this year, alluding to the fact that they're trying to force feed AJ the ball too much, which isn't allowing the offense to get into a rhythm. And he kind of also semi-compared the situation to him and T.O.'s famous beef, so of course AJ had to respond to that on Twitter, reiterating that his little argument with Hurts on the sideline wasn't about targets and saying McNabb just needs to keep that to himself. And here I 100% agreed with AJ and completely disagreed with McNabb. I really feel like the general consensus is that McNabb was creating unnecessary drama here, and of course now, yes, I realize I'm bringing it up again, but it's only because of what Nick Sirianni said on Friday, because even though he wasn't directly asked about the drama surrounding AJ this year, he certainly seemed to go out of his way to praise AJ as a teammate and leader, as well as his unselfishness when asked about his recent dominant stretch.
And Nick, this stretch that AJ's been on, what's impressed you most about him during it?
Consistency. You know what? I'm going to go into this. There was a couple plays last week and I brought him up to the team, into the offense, that it was, man, AJ, everybody knows how good he's been playing. But let me show you guys a couple of things that he did, and our guys noticed it, but to help somebody else get open in a couple different instances with Dallas. The block that he had on Dallas's touchdown, on the screen pass that we ran. So there was like all these different things. I think what impressed me the most is the things that he's not getting recognized for, of how good of a team player he is and what he's been doing for this team, not just catching the football. That speaks to why he has the C on his chest and why he's a captain of this team. And he just keeps getting better every time he steps out in the field, and that's what was the most recognizable thing on that.
So honestly, I don't know if Nick was trying to make a point here or not, but either way, I love what he said. I mean, I do think there's a lot of validity to that. I mean, AJ does do a lot of different things other than just catching the ball that help his teammates also have success, and he also does his part as a leader in the locker room. So I think Nick Sirianni certainly did his part to shut down any sort of dumb drama that people have tried to stir up about AJ this season. Now, I realize I'm going to have people in the comments coming at me for even bringing it up, but hey, it is what it is. After a few years of doing this, I should expect it at this point. Anyways, moving on, I do want to get to the Eagles' offensive struggles, as even though they seem to be improving, they still aren't where they want to be. And Lane Johnson recently was on Colin Cowherd's show, where he expressed the dissatisfaction that the Eagles' offense currently has.
Defense played a heck of a game. Offense, we're not where we want to be. We're still struggling in the red zone. Didn't have a great day, third downs, but found a way there. And really that last drive or two drives to seal it. So we're not clicking on all cylinders offensively. I feel like we haven't all year. So we still got a lot of work to do.
And these are all very valid points. As I've been saying, the Eagles still definitely need to clean it up in the red zone and other areas as well. And one of those things is the rushing offense, which may come as a surprise considering that was clearly the biggest strength for the offense in the first 3 weeks. But over the past 4 weeks of the season, the rush offense has actually struggled, as they're averaging just 3.6 yards per rush in that span. And it seems that we know the reason why, as the dip in rushing efficiency correlates perfectly to the loss of right guard Cam Jurgens, as ever since he's been off the field, the Eagles' yards per carry went from 5.4 all the way down to 3.2, so it definitely seems like Jurgens is the key to fully unlocking the Birds' run game, and they need him back as soon as possible. Now, he should be eligible to return from IR for the Dallas game next week, so hopefully he's good to go by then. Just like I'm really hoping Jordan Davis is going to be good to go for this week, although it definitely doesn't look good, as the defensive tackle missed practice on Friday after being limited Thursday with an ankle injury, so it seems like he could very well miss the Commanders game. And in other injury report news, James Bradbury was added to the list this week, but he has still been practicing, just like Zach Cunningham, who's now dealing with an ankle injury, and Milton Williams, who's dealing with a heel issue, so hopefully all those guys can go Sunday, but we'll get more of an update maybe by the time you're watching this video or this weekend. Either way, I still like the Birds' chances in this game, and if you don't want to miss any coverage regarding that or just the Eagles throughout the rest of the season, make sure you go down, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any other videos just like this coming in the future. Also, again, if you did enjoy this video, drop a like on it to help show some support, and leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you want to watch another video going over Kevin Byard's hidden impact with the Eagles as well as some other news from earlier in the week, you can go check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys, so thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.